Hey guys, it's Jessica. Welcome back to my channel. We are going to be doing the 12 Days of Christmas book tag today. So I will link some people down below, and I will also link the original creator of this book tag because it is escaping my mind a little bit right now. Here we go. Question number 1. A partridge in a pear tree. What is your favorite standalone book? Since the question asks about standalones, I'm going to go in a fantasy direction because I always think of standalone as coming right before the word fantasy because so many fantasies come in duologies and trilogies and 12 book sets, So I'm going to pick my favorite current fantasy standalone, and I already know that it's going to be Babel by R.F. Kuang. I absolutely love this book. It is a blend of alternate history and fantasy and dark academia and so many things that are interesting. It's got a lot to say about colonialism and British history, and it's just really fantastic. And it's got a very pretty shiny cover, which I also like. So that's going to be my current favorite standalone, but that's hard to choose because I actually read a lot of standalones and really enjoy most of them. All right, question 2. Two Turtledoves. What is your favorite fictional OTP, one true pairing, or favorite ship? This is the part I feel like when you say OTP or one true pairing or any of those things, it makes me think of fan fiction so hard. And this is the part where I confess to you that I both read and wrote fan fiction quite a bit when I was in college and later than that. So back in the day, I was on all of the X-Files, Mulder Scully boards. Then I moved on to some Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Spike and Buffy. And then later on, it was Harry Potter and a little bit of Hermione. And I feel like I actually read this year, I actually read Manacled, which is a very, very long Hermione fan fiction that you can find online to read. I would be happy to link it down below. I read it all on my phone, and it was fantastic. I actually read that this is about to be published traditionally, but obviously they're going to have to change everything so it's not about Harry Potter anymore. And I don't really know how I feel about that because I think the reason why I liked it is because it was about Harry Potter. But maybe I'll be surprised. That's what I'm going to choose for that. It's going to be something that is completely not in a book, which is going to be, I think, Hermione and Draco. Why not? Let's choose that one. All right, number 3, Three French Hens, which is going to be favorite trilogy. So I have recently realized that I don't like to finish series. I just don't. I don't like to finish them. I feel like I get toward that last book and I think about not having any more of it to read, or I worry that the ending of the whole thing is going to disappoint me, and I just don't even start. I only finished one series this year. If you go and you look at my series video, that is definitely true. I'm not proud of it, but it is a fact. I'm going to try to do better in the future, but I am going to give you one series that I did finish, I think last year, and I read them all back to back. I was in a super serious reading funk after we bought our house and we moved in because we had just been so busy. I had no energy for any kind of reading. And I saw this recommended on BookTube, and it is The Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee. And I read all 3 of these books within a 2-week period, back to back, one after the other, which is very, very unlike me. The Greenbone Saga is an Asian-inspired fantasy. It has a lot of swordplay. It's set in this world where Jade, the stone, Jade, can imbue people with magical properties and magical powers. It's also a little bit of a mafia story. It's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't usually be into, is what I'm saying. But there was something about it, and I liked the first book. I was okay with the second book, but then I love the third book so much that it is absolutely a favorite series for me. And although I do see people talking about it, I always feel like it could use a little bit more hype. So if you haven't read the Greenbone Saga, I would highly recommend it. All right, number 4, Four Calling Birds. Favorite fictional beast or creature? So I feel like this is a hard one for me because I read a lot of fantasy. I don't read a lot of fantasy that has, I would say, traditional fantasy creatures in it. So I don't read a lot of orc and goblin. That's actually something I need to be doing this year because one of the challenges for the Our Fantasy Bingo Challenge this year is to read something about orcs, goblins, etc. So I think I'm going to choose something that is about an orc, and that is going to be Legends and Lattes. And I know that so many of us have already read Legends and Lattes. It's a fantastic book. It's so fun. It's cute. It's cozy, and it's going to make you really want to go to a coffee shop. And it's going to really make you want to eat pastries. That was the main thing it did for me, actually, I think. But there's a lot of creatures in it. I don't even, are there humans? I don't even think there are any humans. And it was fantastic. So that's going to be my pick for question number 4, for calling birds. All right, 5 golden rings, and it says show 5 golden books. So I tried to find, did I succeed? I don't know if I succeeded. I tried to find 5 books that had some form of gold kind of gilt on the cover. And I don't know if I actually got to 5. One of these might just be yellow, but let's see what I found. All right, so first we have A Study in Drowning by Ava Reed. This has, I think you can definitely see on here, it's got gold writing, and this little part up here is gold. I really love gold and gold on books. So I've got that one. And then I have Circe by Madeline Miller. This is so gold, right? Kind of copper, but we're gonna say that it's gold. I love this cover. And then we have, that's 2. Now we have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. This one has gold kind of all over the front cover, I would say. And I love that. It looks like the second book is going to be blue and silver, and I cannot wait to see them next to each other on my shelf. And then I have 2 more. I have Air by Saba Tahir. This is a new release, young adult book. All the writing is gold on this. It's very pretty. I really, really love this cover. If you have never seen it. If you've never read it. It's such a good book, new release this year. Definitely recommend it. And then my last one. My last one is so gold. That's why I was so excited to get to do this prompt, so that I could show this ridiculous collector's edition of The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Why? Why is there an edition that is just like completely metallic gold? I have no idea. I have no idea why this was the thing that went into the special edition. But I bought it at the library sale, so it's a great book too. If you have not read, would recommend. Okay, so there's my 5 golden rings. And now we have 6 Geese a-Laying. And it says, Rotten Egg, what is your least favorite book? Okay, so I feel like my answer to least favorite book is going to be pretty topical right now, because my least favorite book is Wicked by Gregory Maguire. Man, I don't like that book. I read it, I had a roommate I was living with who owned a copy of this, and I did read it actually before I saw the musical, so it's not because I saw the musical and then I saw the differences and I was like, oh, I'm not into that. I read it first and I was like, what is going on? Why is this book so bonkers? What happens for the entire second half of the book? And why at one point do they go to a weird sex club? And no. I have spent the past month telling all of my friends who have teenage children that they do not need to buy them a copy of this book just because they like the musical, because it is not the same thing. It is not. I don't care how many cute, beautiful, pretty special editions they put out with sprayed edges and gorgeous covers. It is still not something that your 12-year-old needs to be reading. So that's my least favorite book. Just didn't like it. I love the Oz books. I love all of the Oz books. I actually went through a phase where I just read all of the ones that Frank L. Baum originally wrote. And this is not that. Do love the musical though. Musical's great. You should definitely go see that. All right, 7 Swans a-Swimming, and we have Show a Book with Water on the Cover. And I have The Glass Hotel by Emily St. John Mandel. So you can see that we have what looks like an island here, and it's floating in water because you can see the reflection of that. I don't know how obvious that's going to be on screen, but I promise that I'm pretty sure that there is water here. This is Emily St. John Mandel's second book. It follows Station 11, which is one of my favorite books ever. This one I don't like quite as much. It is in the same universe. You don't have to have read one to read the other. And then the third book in this series is Sea of Tranquility, which I thought, surely Sea of Tranquility will have some sea on the cover when I was looking for this, and it does not. It's no water. Zero water on the cover of Sea of Tranquility. But this is my least favorite of the three, but they're all good. Everything she writes is amazing, so water on the cover. Okay, now we have 8 Maids of Milking, which says, what fictional food do you wish that you could taste? Okay, so I need to know who else was obsessed with the Little House books when they were growing up. I wanted to be a pioneer girl so badly, so badly. I wanted to live in a cabin in the woods. I wanted to wear calico dresses. I wanted to have pigtails and a sister. All those things. I wanted all of those things so badly. And one of the things that I know people will always talk about are the foods that they ate in the books. And I know so many of them are so strange to us now. I remember there is the part where they fight over who gets to eat the pig's tail after a pig roast. And I don't feel like that is a common 21st century experience probably, but at the time I was like, yeah, I want to eat a pig's tail. That sounds amazing. Let's use a bladder to blow up a balloon. Amazing. But the one that I actually remember the most is the one that she wrote about her husband Almanzo's childhood. It's called Farmer Boy. And that one is just like so stuffed full of descriptions of amazing sounding food, especially his mother's apple turnovers. My grandma used to make fried apple pies. I mean, they're probably what you would call like a hoe cake or something, but we did not call them hoe cakes. No. Fried apple pies. And those were one of my favorite things growing up, which she never made. I always begged her to make them. And that's what that made me think of was the hoe cakes when I was reading the book. If, by the way, you are interested in reading a really great biography of Laura Ingalls Wilder and what the true story was of her childhood and the true story of how she wrote the books and how she didn't write all of the books herself, there's a lot in there. So there is a book that I would recommend. I wrote it down. It is called Prairie Fires, and it is absolutely amazing. And it changed the way that I thought about the books, but it did not make me love them any less. So I would highly recommend that if you've never read that. It's a really great biography of Laura Ingalls Wilder that came out, I think, maybe like about 8 or 9 years ago. It's great. All right. 9 Ladies Dancing. Favorite dance between 2 characters. Okay, so I couldn't come up with one for this because if people dance in novels that I read, I don't notice. I can't think of a dance, but I am really sure that when I was in high school and I went through my Regency romance phase, that I read so many scenes about people waiting for someone to dance with them or having significant conversations on the dance floor while doing dances that, so cheesy, probably, to go back and read. But I loved them at the time. I haven't read one in a really long time, but my historical romance phase was definitely real, and I bet there were a lot of dances in those. All right, number 10 is 10 Lords of Leaping. What is your favorite book to movie adaptation? I really, really love the Emma Thompson, Kate Winslet version of Sense and Sensibility. I probably wore out the VHS tape, which I know we owned when I was growing up. And it has Alan Rickman, who was definitely too old to be a love interest, but I'm pretty sure was one. It has Hugh Grant. It has some amazing original music and a piano score that they played in the movie that I had to get a copy of, and I have played so many times. And I just absolutely think it is fantastic. And I would recommend that if you haven't seen it. All right, so 11 Pipers Piping is favorite book to movie adaptation soundtrack. Well, I think I'm going to go back to Wicked again, and I'm going to say Wicked. I'm going to say that has a really good soundtrack. And I didn't like the book. The book was terrible, but the musical, it is amazing. And I am definitely a musical theater person. I grew up memorizing all of the words. Like at one point, I think maybe when I was in the 9th grade. I went to a performing arts high school, by the way, so I come by this like super naturally. When I was in the 9th grade, I definitely knew every single line of every single part of the extended version of Les Mis, and I could sing them all to you, and I did on a regular basis, all the time. So I love musicals, and I'm going to mention Wicked because I think Wicked's really great. It's not my absolute favorite movie or absolute favorite movie musical, but it did come from a book. That's definitely one that I thought came from a book, which reminds me that I really need to see the Color Purple musical. I have not seen that one yet, but oh, there's a Little Women musical. That's not a movie. It's a good musical though. All right, I'm going to stop, or I'm just going to talk about musicals for the entire rest of this video, which is almost over because we are to number 12, 12 Drummers Drumming. It is the end of the song. What's your favorite book ending? Okay, so I'm going to say that my favorite book ending is the ending of, I'm trying to choose which one. I'm going to go with Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson. So if you read any Brandon Sanderson, you know that he's kind of famous for the end of his books. I think they call it like the Sander slide or something like that, where everything just builds to this like enormous place, even if parts of the book were really slow. All of a sudden you don't care. And I think that Words of Radiance, which is the second book in the Stormlight Archive, has the best one of those that I've read. I'm obviously not going to spoil the ending, but it was fantastic. Yeah, that's my favorite book of Stormlight Archive so far. And I guess I probably don't have to recommend Stormlight Archive. Either you're going to read it or you don't want to read 1,200 page books. And with that, I have finished the book tag. If you are watching this video and you would like to do this book tag, which was super fun, please consider yourself tagged. I would love if you would leave a comment down below. Let me know that you did it so that I can go check out your answers, because this is one of my favorite ones I feel like that I've done. I love a theme. What can I say? And with that, I hope you'll have a fantastic day. I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.